Right, there we are.
There we are.
Okay. I am here today with Teresa Walcott, who has been a CSA member since when?
2001. So we've been getting, might
2001.
have been the summer of 2002, actually. So
Uh-huh.
22 or 23 years.
Great, great.
Mm.
And so I have a few questions for you, and we don't have to go exactly off these questions, but we'll start with them anyway.
Okay.
I guess the first question is how long have you been purchasing from us? And what do you get from us? What kind of things do you buy from the farm?
Well, I get a lot of things from the farm. I mean, I feel like very connected to the farm. I started as a working shareholder and brought my two little kids. I joined the CSA because um, my kids would not eat vegetables, and I just thought if they saw where they were and if we were getting really fresh, high quality food, they would start eating vegetables, which actually did happen,
Oh,
which
that's
was
good.
great. Yes.
That's good. Very good to learn.
They upped their repertoire and, they would eat stuff in the field. And, um, so I started there. I was a working shareholder for a few years. And so I have a real feel of connection to the community there. I learned a lot about um, organic farming. I mean, I think my other thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to learn how to effectively farm organically for my own purposes. But then the farm was doing it so well, and I have a very shady yard. I didn't want to remove trees, and I'm like, well, this is it. This is my home for food, and
Mhm.
so it was that. It was the great conversations in the field, and then when I went back to work full time, and I couldn't do the working shareholder thing, we continued to get the food there. While I was a working shareholder, I had a more extended community. There were a group of friends that I was bringing food back for, and then I started to host other people in the area at my that would pick up in my yard. And so it's just important to me. I feel like I'm contributing, reducing everyone's carbon footprint and making the farm more accessible. So all those things were important to me. And the good work that the farm does, things for the rest of the community, bringing people in from halfway houses to give them jobs and making sure that the people that work full time on the farm not only learn a skill but have a livable wage. I feel like that's really important. The high quality of the food is unbelievable. It's just so good. When the kids were little, we ate only meat from the farm. So we saw that the animals were raised. It's like a totally different food, really great for growing kids. And we don't do that anymore, but that was kind of like something that we just stopped doing, not because we didn't like it, but we just stopped doing it.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is too that the farm also helps people who can't afford maybe the prices, although I feel like the price is very reasonable because what you're getting is such a quality product. But for people who can't afford, you can use your SNAP benefits to get food here, which is great. So it's just making, really good whole food accessible to a wide range of people and giving people a living wage, and it's a family farm, which I also love. So I get all those things, and the food I look forward to every year. I feel like it's, I feel like I can't live without it at this point. So that's a lot, right? And the eggs also, I feel like the animals have been treated properly, and that goes for the meat animals as well. They have good lives, they're free range. So not only is the meat really high quality, but the animals are raised properly. You know that there's no pesticides or other things that should not be happening to the animals or the food going on. And it shows because the eggs and meat are very delicious.
Great. Wow, you might have answered all the questions already.
Oh, good. That makes it fast.
I suppose I would say why you keep coming back every year. We probably answered that one. But do you have any sense of how we might be distinctive from other CSAs if somebody's online looking for a CSA to join in Central Mass, why they would choose ours?
Well, I mean, I feel like I haven't looked around, but I feel like that all those contributing things, also like that you were also the acting president of the Northeast Organic Farming Association, that you've kind of formed
Executive director, I was, yeah.
executive
Not
director. I'm
president. Yeah,
sorry.
that's okay.
Sorry. But for many years, is almost as long as I've known you. I think how many years have you stepped down, but it was only a few years ago.
We were there for Jack and I were involved for 36 years and got and retired in 2020. So,
Oh, that was a good year to retire.
yeah.
But the but just to say about that, that I feel like one of the things about your farm is that you've probably formed what CSAs look like or had a big hand in forming that with your influence through that organization. And honestly, I've heard about different CSAs, but I moved from Boston when we moved out to central Massachusetts. Yours was the first CSA that I tried, and I've actually never shopped around. So I
Hmm.
can't really speak to what other places have. I've seen things, but I don't know, they just, I don't see anything that kind of improves on it. I feel like there's a lot to go with the delivery system is really, makes it really accessible to people. So you guys come out. I noticed someone is even going as far as Orange. There's a drop-off site and
It's
Boston
Athol, yeah.
and Athol.
Athol,
And
yeah. Right.
so there's like, it's
Gardner,
like,
yeah.
yeah, so you don't have to, it's like you're a lot of places you have to go to the site to pick up by yourself and I'm sure the food is great, but I feel like the variety that we get from you. I love the food. I love the surprises. It totally changed the way that I cook by just eating what's in season and what comes from the farm. And in some years, you get a lot of like say like cucumbers and you just like adjust and do something with them. And I liked that. I don't know if everyone likes that kind of wild card thing, but I loved that. And I love opening the bag. I think the most recent thing was like, what is this when you started putting Tulsi in the bags? And
Uh-huh, right.
now I can't live without it as tea.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I'm like, oh, it's so good, it's in there. But so you learn if you haven't been adventurous before, some things that you just don't really see at the grocery store will turn up at the farm too. And the quality is really great again.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
don't I
good.
don't I don't know that it can be improved on. And the other thing too is that the way that you grow food is evolved over time is like you start off at the beginning of the year with a huge bag of vegetables because of the hoop houses. If you want to, it seems like that has been like it's just like such a bounty of food for the price. I don't I mean I can't say what the other ones look like, but
Hmm. That's okay.
I've never I guess the bottom line to say is I never wanted to stray. I
Yeah.
found I think the best choice first off. So
Well, lucky for you and for us.
cheers, Julie.
Um, I wanted to ask, here we're talking kind of to the person, if we're talking to a person who wants to try the CSA for the first time and they're worried about choice. And, actually, some CSAs do provide choice. A limited choice. You go there and you pick out 6 or 8 items from maybe 12 or whatever to pick through. But here you get what's in your bag, and that's how it is. And if you don't like something, people say, "Well, can you not pack, XYZ for me?" I said, "No, I can't because it's too much with 140 people. We don't do that. But find a friend to give it to, or learn how to use it, or whatever. But how do you how would you talk to a person about how to give up their choice to have whatever they want, if not whatever, but have much more. They can go to Whole Foods or they can go to the, farmer's market in their locale or whatever and just get exactly what they want. How can you talk to a person like that about how to, deal with that issue that Americans are used to our choice and we're used to having things at our fingertips when we want them.
Well, again, I like the surprise, but also the beauty of Emhoff is there's the newsletter plus also a huge archive of recipes. And so you never have to be at a loss. And then just a lot of the things, if you're stir frying, you can put them together. Like you don't just have to have broccoli for dinner, say for instance, even though I love broccoli a lot.
Right.
And but you can stir fry it with some carrots or you can stir fry it with something else. And and yeah, I just feel like I'm probably the wrong person to ask that question because I just love the surprise. But I know it's an issue for people, but I feel like you
Yeah.
can you know, I don't know how much you want to plan, but I will say one thing that you can plan on is the lettuce. Like if you want a good salad, you're going to get everything you want in the bag. You'll
Hmm.
get the most delicious lettuce. It's almost impossible to keep it up. And during the summer, I eat salad with two times a day usually. Um,
Hmm.
and sometimes even for breakfast, I'll boil eggs and throw it on top of salad.
Mm.
It's like that is one thing you can definitely count on getting, pretty much like that. I'm just amazed by how you've been able to keep that going all year. And they're like, it's substantial. There might be a week or two where there's no lettuce when it's like blazing hot, but other than that, but so I think you can count on the lettuce, but the other stuff is just a bonus. And
Hmm.
almost everything can be cooked together or put into a salad form. And I've also taken to roasting them with chicken on top, the vegetables with
Hmm.
chicken on top, and quinoa or rice on the bottom, or rice and lentils, and like a lot, all those leafy greens. I mean, the kale is spectacular. Kale is something we get every week too. So there is some consistency. The only changes are like the leafy greens. You get a big bunch of leafy greens of some kind, and that's pretty consistent. So if it's not kale, it's going to be Swiss chard or collards. And so those are usually in quantity, and you can kind of count on that. I don't know if that answers I don't know if that is persuasive enough or not.
No, no, it's okay. It's just, it's good, more good information for people. Yeah. And I do think I know some people will say, well, they want a small share, but then they just get a small amount of everything. But then they say, well, there's not enough to have one thing with the meal, And I
Right.
want to say to people, well, have two things. You don't have to have just cooked broccoli or cooked carrots or cooked whatever it is, stir fry them together, perhaps, and
Well,
so,
I work for the USDA, and we do say you should have 5 different choices and make that plate as colorful as possible.
yeah,
So, the greens are great, but you should have carrots or you should have beets.
yeah,
You're really just like, it's just an opportunity to make sure that your plate is as colorful as possible with all that variety.
yeah. No, it's good for your gut biome. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. All right. How important to you is our focus on fertility, you know, diversity, carbon sequestration, that kind of stuff? Is that important to you one way or the other?
It's extremely important to me that you're doing all that stuff. I mean, it's pretty well documented that soils, like the Green Revolution fed a lot of people, but it also really depleted our soils. And it is essential that minerals get back into our food, which is what you're doing very well. And just all your farming techniques, like the no-till stuff, it's just, it's really like, I feel like by joining a CSA like this, you're really putting your dollars into protection against climate change, because it's local. You're reducing your carbon footprint by buying your food from a place that is reducing the carbon footprint, and those essential nutrients that are getting depleted from our soils, they're there. The farming techniques, the organic farming techniques, preserve the soil, and it's just essential for going forward in the future. Like, we can't continue as we are, I feel like, without extremely important. And I feel like when I'm getting my food, that I hate the 6 months without it. And I always feel like that first bite in the spring, that all of my cells are crying out with joy at getting the food again from the farm, because it's a huge difference, the flavor and everything else. I think it's like,
Mhm.
and for health reasons, as we're getting older, but even as younger people, like, it's energy food, like you're eating the best quality, you're getting what your body needs. And, because the soil preservation, but also adding nutrients in and minerals back into the soil, is so important. And as I remember talking to you early on, because you had been living on the land, raising your family there, which I also really love that you brought up all your kids on the farm, and that
Mhm.
that soil is just very rich and very deep. All of the years of recycling organic material back into it, and like, you just know your food is as nutritious as possible.
Right?
It doesn't appear nutritious; it is nutritious.
Wonderful. Thank you. Um, and you talked about the quality difference. I guess you can taste that and see that.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's like a different food. Like from other, from if you just go to the grocery store, it's like a totally different food.
Mhm. All right. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share with people about why they might want to join the CSA?
Well, I can only kind of give a quick summary that you're supporting a wonderful organization. the planet. You're doing working against climate change. You're getting the best nutrition you can get for your family. You're supporting people who, are struggling to reassert themselves back into the world by giving them a living wage. And you're also helping people feed their families, like low-income families who can use your SNAP benefits instead of can get real food. So you're helping your whole community by joining the CSA. And plus, you're gonna love it. It's so good, and the food is so good and delicious, and you can't go wrong.
All right. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, Teresa.
You're
And thank you
welcome.
for being a site coordinator all these years. I just would say that Teresa's been, I guess, really from close to the start. I think we've had a delivery spot at your house in Holden, right? It's been,
That's right. Yeah, I think
yeah, yeah,
I think I started delivering to a few of my friends in the neighborhood, and then it was in the barn. People were picking up in the barn, and then it was
yeah,
kind of like, hey, do you mind if other people? And I've had a lot of people say, thank you. I can't drive out to Barry, but this is in my neighborhood, so I can pick it up. And
right.
that is a really important. Everyone's so busy, having that convenience, and also another thing you can feel good about is helping to reduce people's carbon footprints, but getting
Right.
really good food to them without them having to try to drive out to Barry, say from Holden, which is it's a big time commitment when you have to get to the soccer field or get back and forth to work, or,
Right.
everybody has such busy lives. It's just another convenience.
Yeah. So just to say to folks that we deliver two places in Holden, very close to each other, the Baptist church, and then you're right around the corner on
Yeah, right in the center of Holden.
Clayton Road. And then we also deliver to Worcester and we deliver to Shrewsbury and Athol and Gardner. So few places for people, or they can pick up at the farm in Barry. So great. Well, thank you. I hope you're with us for another 20 years.
Me
And
too.
I hope I'm with us for another 20 years too. That's my plan. So
I'm optimistic.
great. All right. Thanks, Teresa.
Thank you. Take care, Julie. Great to
Bye
talk to
bye.
you.
You too.
Bye-bye.